Welcome to the Heal Yourself podcast, where we dive deep into all things healing. I'm Denise, a speech language pathologist and a self-love coach for adults and teens.
And I'm Kira, a traditional naturopath and functional nutritionist, and we are here to guide you through the transformative process of healing your body, mind, and soul.
From the latest in functional medicine to nurturing your relationship with yourself, healing trauma, and even transforming your money story, we're here to empower you with the knowledge and tools to create lasting change.
So whether you're looking to heal physically, emotionally, or spiritually, join us as we explore the many paths to wholeness and wellness. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. It is Kira today, and we are joined by a special guest. Her name is Nikki Brown. She is the women's empowerment coach, helping women heal their wounds, upgrade their identity, and finally flourish in their authenticity so they can cultivate the courage to turn their dreams into a lived reality. So, Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Kira. So happy to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. So, I always kick it off. Tell us how you got here. You and I were chatting a little bit beforehand, but it's right. None of us gets to this journey of helping others in their healing journey unless we've been through our own journey. Like, it doesn't happen that way. So, give us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get to this place? What was your healing journey like?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna take you way back for a minute because I was always this kid who was, such a sensitive soul. But I always cared so much about the world, and I always felt like I was meant to help people or to do something. And my parents, for all of the wonderful parents that they were, just didn't quite get me, like we were just different. And so, we all have our challenges, but I didn't get the support that I needed as a very sensitive child to really be like seen and heard and understood. And that left a lot of wounding in me. And as I got older, you know, school and social interactions and all of that just adds to it. So I basically grew up in a family with a lot of limiting beliefs. And in that process, I developed a lot of ideas about who I was and what I was capable of. And this belief that I always had to struggle or that I was always behind and things like that. And so I made a lot of choices just kind of based on what other people told me I was or what I should do in my life. And I wasn't ever making those choices for me. I didn't realize it at the time. Of course, I was fully blind to it, right? But I was following somebody else's path my whole life. And long story short, I woke up one day and I didn't recognize the person I was. I didn't recognize the person I was, or I didn't understand how I got here in this life that I had created because I had been following everyone else's guidance and everyone else's expectations my whole life. And that was a rude awakening for me because at the time, I had a daughter, and I had this moment where I didn't like the mom I was becoming. And that was the biggest shakeup for me because I had dreamt for so long about being a mother. And looking at myself and looking at her, I could see myself making those same mistakes, falling into those patterns. And I realized like I could see the mirror, and I was like, oh, something really has to change. And I took a really hard look at my life, and I realized all the places where I was making unhealthy choices for me. And I was kind of sleepwalking through my life, and then I wondered why I was like burnt out and like cracking under the pressure. And I was struggling under the weight of this like perfectionism and this overachieverness, trying to do it all and be it all and have it all. And I didn't even know what I really wanted for me, but I knew it wasn't that. And I knew
Hmm.
that was the thing that was making me unhappy. Like, this is the thing that's making me like the mom with the short fuse and the unable to handle stress and always overwhelmed because I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to be it all and have it all. And maybe I just need to change something. So that's kind of where my journey began with this realization. And truthfully, I started looking to fix myself. When I started my personal development journey, I was like, there is something wrong with me. I'm living the North American dream. I have climbed the corporate ladder. I have the house. I have the marriage. I have the kid. I have all of the things that I checked all the boxes. I followed the path that everyone told me to. Why am I here? Why doesn't this feel
Hmm.
right? And yeah, and that's when I was like, there's got to be something wrong with me. I got to fix me. So I started on this journey thinking that I would just learn some stuff to fix myself. And through that process, what I really realized that there was nothing wrong with me. It was simply that I had bought into the lies that other people told me, and bought into the lies of like what I should do, be, and have, without stopping to question what was really right for me. And that was the big turning point for me, where I started to do the work to question, like, well, who am I? Like, what does feel right for me? And like starting that process of excavating, um, and looking at everything and saying, well, like, such a silly example I always use, but it was really one of the first big turning points for me. I had spent my whole life with people telling me, oh, you're clumsy, uncoordinated, ungraceful. I didn't play any sports. I didn't want to work out or go to the gym because I was too embarrassed. I'm like, I can't do any of that stuff, you know. So that was creating part of the unhealthy lifestyle that I wanted to change. Um, and I always wanted to dance. I don't know why. I just love dancing. I always wanted to dance as a kid, and I never did. So I was like, I wonder if this is true about me. I wonder if I could just test this as a possibility. And so I joined a dance class. I joined a Hot Mama's Hip Hop.
I love it.
And I would love to be like, yeah, no, I was an amazing dancer. I wasn't, but I wasn't terrible, you know. And I started to build my confidence with that, and I started to be like, oh, maybe I'm not so uncoordinated. And then
Hmm.
when people would throw me things, I'd start to try and catch it, and I'd be like, oh, look at that, I caught that. Hmm. And so like over this time, I started stacking the evidence and building the evidence for like, oh, this belief is not true.
Yeah.
People said those things about me, but I just bought into it. And that's actually not true. So then I threw that away. That's not who I am anymore. And then I started to like rediscover and redefine who I was.
Which is so important. And I feel like so many women are missing that as a healing opportunity, right? It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
as kids, we follow what our parents say. That's understandable. And then it's, okay, well, you're supposed to go to college because that's what you do. And oh, you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you want to do. Why don't you follow in one of our footsteps? Or you're good at this from what I see. So this is what I think you should go into. And then that
Mm-hmm.
just continues to stack over the
Yeah.
years. And then, yeah, one day you're like, wait a minute, I'm doing this and I don't even want to be doing this. But
Yeah.
we're trying to please other people without
Mm-hmm.
digging into what we need. And I know we spoke about this earlier, but I made a post today on social just saying, what is your soul asking? And we don't ask
Yeah.
that often enough.
No. Or what does your soul need? And like,
Yes.
yeah, just stopping to like start questioning those things in my life made such a big difference. And when I started to redefine who I was and I started to like do that work to, you know, reclaim pieces of myself, I started to feel better. And I was like, wow, you know, imagine all my life I've been limiting myself with all these beliefs.
Hmm.
I wonder what else is possible for me. Right. And
Yeah.
that's where I wonder what else is possible for me. And that's really how I got into coaching because once I started to make those changes in my life and question all those beliefs and recreate the person that I started to be like, I need to wake other women up to the possibilities that they're asleep to for themselves, for their life, like all the things you've been dreaming of. Like, it's not just, oh, wouldn't that be nice? Or maybe one day, or that's not
Yep.
possible for me. If only I had that, you know, that life. What if it was? What if it all started with what if,
Mm-hmm. And what do I want? And
right?
not just trying to please others. So, you
Mhm.
know, whatever you're doing during the day, is this what I truly want to be doing? Or am I doing it
Right.
because my partner is working and I'm worried that they'll judge me because of this? Or there's so many different ways we can take that. But even I'm
Hmm.
going to use you as an example. What if you woke up one morning and were like, I really want to live somewhere else. Like that's what I truly desire. But oh, my parents are getting old. I don't know. I probably shouldn't move. What if my kids don't do it? Tell us about
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So that's where I am right now. I have moved my entire family from Canada to Spain pretty recently, actually. I guess in October. So we're now in
Wow.
January.
Yeah.
So it was a big move, and it was 2 years in the making. But it was something that I had long dreamed about. I think I had always wanted this unconventional sort of life. And like I told you, I sort of followed that path because I felt like I had to
Mm-hmm.
in order to please other people. But I had always dreamed of this more unconventional life about living in Europe and the slower pace and the culture and like, just things like that. So I spent some time here as an au pair in my 20s, and I knew that this was the place for me. I wanted to learn I wanted to learn Spanish, and I wanted my kids to know Spanish and stuff like that. But I didn't think it was possible for a really long time until I started making those changes in my life. And then one day I started talking to my husband about like, well, we always say like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if, or maybe one day, but what if we said like, well, why not? Like, why can't we? What if we just try this thing? Like worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, we move home or whatever,
Yeah.
like what if we just explore this as a possibility? So we did. And we kind of talked it out and we figured out a plan, and not everyone's on board with that.
Hmm.
It is a big change. We are far from family. It's a hard thing to justify sometimes when people don't understand what you want or your vision, right? But at the same time, we knew it was right for us and we talked about it as a family, and we just decided we're going to take that leap. So we sold our house and we started that journey. Now we've moved to Spain, and I honestly couldn't be happier. Like as soon as we got here, I knew that we made the right move. It was
Mm.
like a soul knowing, like I've
Yeah.
always felt this soul calling to this place. Um, but yeah, it's just we knew in our hearts that it was right for us, even when other people didn't understand it. But I never would have had the courage to do that if I hadn't already stacked so much evidence and like spent so much time proving to myself that I can follow my path and I can trust what's possible, and building the confidence and the courage to make those big moves.
Yeah.
Like leaving my corporate job to go full time in coaching, for instance, so I could even make this move possible. So yeah, it was a long time coming, but it was such a testament to trusting when you're in alignment and trusting your dream and your path. Like I've heard so many times, like your higher power or whatever you believe in wouldn't give you a vision if you weren't
Yes.
capable of achieving it. And so when I started to believe that truth, I was like, there's a reason why I have this
Hmm.
dream in my heart. There's a reason why I have this vision. I say that to myself, and now I say that to my kids every single time you want something. There's a reason for this. Follow it. I support
Yeah.
you, and I wish more people had said that to me, because maybe I wouldn't have taken the long way around to get here, but also I'm grateful that I did, because if I hadn't taken that long way around to get here, I wouldn't have the experience I have or be the person I am. So it's all perfect in hindsight, but I do really appreciate the opportunity to give my daughter those things that maybe I didn't get growing up.
Yeah. And that's healing, right? Is healing
Yeah,
generational things of like recognizing, okay, this pattern, this belief system was not working, and so we can shift that.
yeah,
Um, but two things really jumped out at me. So guys listening, uh, pay attention. One of them is trust. That
yeah,
trust piece is huge. And like you said, I've always said it too. If you have a dream, there's a reason why you have a dream. Doesn't mean you're going to
Hmm.
go be a princess and live in, Paris, but like if the dream continues to follow you, then there's a reason for it. So
Yeah.
trust whatever that leap looks like for you. And then the other thing is you are living for you. Like we're not here to live for other people. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it's like I can
It's
still
true.
be a loving person, I can be a caring person, but I'm not here for you. I'm here for me. So why am I going to forego the things that I feel like my family needs or I am desiring that aren't harmful to others just because you don't want me to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Honestly, it's so true because I've thought that so many times about this idea that like I only have this one life to
Hmm.
live. Like we all only get given one life, and I spent so much time wasting it not choosing me and making
Yeah.
those choices for me. And so I'm just going to maximize whatever time I have left by making more of those choices,
Same.
Like
Yeah.
and I really hope that I can help more women do that too in my career. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, in your own healing journey and getting to this place, what role did, I'll call them emotions, but like forgiveness, compassion, self-love, did those play a role in your healing journey?
Yeah. So I want to say the biggest thing about my healing journey was recognizing how mean I was to
Mm.
myself. And that's because of how many limiting beliefs I had about myself, about who I should be or what other people need to be. Again, going back to that people pleasing, right? When I wasn't fitting into the boxes, when I wasn't doing the things, or when I was trying to do the things and failing, you know, I was just so mean to myself. And I also had a perfectionist tendencies and like really high expectations. So like, I always felt like I was setting impossibly high standards and then not reaching them. Um, and I would beat myself up and I would judge myself. And the truth is, throughout my healing journey, I realized that there's a positive intention to this mean little voice in our head, this bullying voice, our inner critic. There's a positive intention, right? It doesn't really mean to do us any harm.
Hmm. Just trying to keep you
Really,
safe.
it's exactly. So when I started being like, okay, like I hear you and I understand you're just trying to keep me safe, but like I've got this. When I started stacking evidence and building a confidence, and I could say to myself with compassion, like, hey, I know that you're scared, or hey, I know you want me to do better, but like I've got this. I know it sounds silly, like you're talking to
It doesn't.
yourself, but it's true. It's true.
Not to me.
Like you give well, yeah. But to some people are like, oh,
Yeah.
you talk to yourself? Yes, I do. We have really
Mhm.
great conversations,
You got to
actually.
coach yourself.
Exactly. So I started telling myself, like, hey, I've got this. You're going to be okay. Or I know that you're trying to protect me and you're trying to make me be better. And I've got this. Then I feel like everything sort of shifted. I was able to be able to um, really see the positive intention and not try and just demonize the inner critic,
Hmm.
and love all parts of myself because that was really the healing thing. It was like learning to love all of the parts of myself, even the
Yeah.
parts of myself that I didn't like. Um, the more that we can understand the parts of ourselves that we don't like or have compassion for those parts, the more we find ourselves really like fully loving ourselves. And people are like, oh, self-love. Yes, I love myself. Like bubble baths and all those things where they
Yeah.
think like it's just the confidence and loving on yourself. But no, it's about like fully accepting and embracing like
Hmm.
all of the shadow and all of the things that you like don't like about yourself, or that, the mistakes that you make where it makes you doubt yourself, or the times that you act in ways that you're not proud of, and being able to look at those moments. And this was really helpful and especially important in my parenting journey because, like that's such a challenge. Um, parenting brings out all of the things in you that you don't realize. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of guilt and a lot of shame around that.
Hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, I raised my voice, or oh, I said this thing that like, or I felt this thing that I felt like I shouldn't feel, or whatever.
Yeah.
If I was a loving mom, I would beat myself up, you know? And then I started to have compassion for that part and be like, what's really going on here? What's underneath that? Recognizing what is the need underneath the feeling, whether it's anger or frustration or sadness or guilt or shame. Like, what's it trying to communicate?
Hmm.
That's where things really shifted for me. Because before that, as a person who's really sensitive and really emotional, I had a lot of big feelings in my life. And I would like ride that roller coaster of emotion alone and in
Yeah.
shame because nobody got it. And everyone was like, put those feelings away. You're too much.
Hmm.
You're too sensitive. Like, it's not the place, it's not the time. I just didn't know how to handle them. I didn't know how to
Yeah.
process them. And so a lot of it was for me learning how to accept those parts of myself and love those parts of myself with compassion. And to get there, I really needed to understand it. It's something that I'd never done before, that no one ever took the time to help me
Yeah,
do.
there's not a course in school on that.
No, no, there's not. There's not.
And
Sadly, there should be.
there should be. It takes time too. This is not an overnight thing. It's an ongoing thing of, oh,
Yes.
this is a trigger. What's the lesson in there? And how can I show compassion? And one of the
Hmm.
things I've told my clients in the past is think about how you speak to your best friend, right? You love on them, you encourage
Hmm.
them. For the most part, if you're a good person, you should
Right.
be speaking to yourself in the same way because we
Hmm.
are our own biggest critics. And why?
Yeah.
We don't need to be.
Hmm. Yeah, that it's so true. Like, to be your own best friend,
Yeah.
right? Also, because that was like a big issue for me at one point in my life as well, where I felt so lonely because I had like distanced myself from so many people because I was in such a dark place.
Mm,
And like you kind of pull inward. And there was a lot of like shame around that. And I was like, oh, like this is because of who I am or whatever. And I don't have a friend that I can call, cry on their shoulder because backstory. I had a really rough point at one point with my one of my best friends because I ended up dating and now married to her brother. So
oh,
um
spicy.
but yeah. So like that friendship, there was a rift in it for a while, and that
Mm,
that was part of like my journey and my struggle. But at a time where I didn't have that relationship in my life, I needed to learn how to be my own best friend, right?
mhm.
Um, And that was something that I learned through my journey about learning how to give yourself the things that you need, even the things that I was expecting from my husband, right? Sometimes I think in a lot of relationships, we try to make other people meet our needs all the time, and we don't realize that we can actually meet our own needs.
Mhm.
Like, this person doesn't evoke anything in me that's not already there, right?
Yeah.
So being able to like recall a moment in my life where I felt really loved and supported, and to be able to like close my eyes and like call on that moment and feel those things and know like, oh, I can capture that, and that's right here. It's always here, whether those people are here or not, right?
Mhm.
I have that, I can create that, I can give that to myself. And that was such a pivotal thing for me as well in learning how to like navigate that self-compassion, because I learned how to give myself and meet my needs that I couldn't always meet through external sources, right?
And that's one of the biggest healing tools you have and one of the biggest gifts. So
Hmm.
I'm curious because Denise and I talk about this all the time, but we're forever on healing journeys, right? If we're not talking physical body, guys, you shouldn't be physically healing yourself 24/7, but like the rest of you, there's always aspects that need healing, relationships with others, relationships with self, relationships with money, like everything. So I'm
Hmm.
curious, how do you embrace that and how like is there an area without getting, too personal that you're working on currently?
Yeah. So I do feel like healing as well as a constant journey. Like I'm always healing
Mm.
in different ways. I always like it, like when I speak to my clients, I liken it to like washing your hands. You don't just wash your hands once and they're done, they're clean, and you're like, oh, all good. No, because life,
Hmm.
things happen, and so naturally as humans, stuff gets
Yep.
shaken up, like the dirt in the water when you step in it. Things get shaken up. So yes, I am always doing the work myself, and part of that looks like a lot of reflection and inquiry, um, because I still get triggered in moments. I still
We're
have,
human.
yeah, I still have those moments where my emotions get triggered. Um, one of the biggest ones for me has been in this journey of moving, because as much as it's been like
Mm.
this dream come true and it's been like amazing to finally arrive, there's been so many moments where I have felt unsettled, right? And so that it creates some unsettling in the nervous system, right?
Yeah.
Things are new, things are different. I'm not quite here, not quite there. I'm in this in between stage. Like we moved like 4 times in 3 months, and there's a lot. And my
Yeah.
kids are very dysregulated because they're all so little, and they're like, having a hard time with the transition. So there's a lot of moments where it's been a real challenge for me to continue to work with my tools and to like, notice, oh, the subtle sensations in the body that give me clues like, oh, I'm very dysregulated. And that might sound like a, I'll find myself sighing when I'm
Hmm.
loading the dishwasher, like, or like, you know, I'm like, ooh, I'm dysregulated, because like that sigh is a good sign for me. So it's like really about paying attention and noticing the cues in the body and coming back to that and being like, oh, okay, when was the last time I took a minute for me? Or because I was way out of my routine with like working out and like the way that we were eating and stuff like that, new foods and new schedule. And so I had, oh, okay, when's the last time you ate? What did you eat? Oh, not a balanced meal. Okay, like you needed to. So like just going back to check into those moments where I was feeling like maybe on edge. And it's because maybe I wasn't taking care of myself in the same way, or
Mm.
because my routine is out of whack, and like that's gonna happen. Life is gonna life. Things
Yeah.
are gonna throw you
Doesn't
off,
stop.
and you gotta figure out how to navigate it. So yeah, my number one tip, I guess, and the number one thing that I always come back to is just maintaining connection with myself and with
Yeah.
my body, drawing awareness, and then looking under the hood and being like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean that awareness is key. We can't make any changes without awareness. And then it's got to
Yeah.
lead to the inquiry. Like we were laughing about talking to yourself. I don't talk out loud to myself, but there are conversations happening in there when I'm getting triggered. Okay, why did this trigger me? Is there a lesson in here? What can I learn from this? Because I really do view everything as a learning opportunity, and everything
Hmm.
around us is an opportunity for healing. Like you said,
Yeah.
moving to a new country. That's a huge area for healing
Yeah.
opportunities for everyone.
Safety is a huge wound for me, and that was
Mhm.
something that I've learned through my healing journey, because I had a lot of moments in my childhood where I didn't feel like a sense of safety. Um, and that was why that was getting triggered so much
Yeah.
in this move, which was so interesting to me. I didn't expect it. So that's the other reason
Mhm.
it kind of caught me off guard. So I'm like, oh, this is my dream come true. So why are all these things coming up, right? And when I sat with it in sessions, I realized, oh, okay, your safety wound is being like
Mhm.
brushed up against right now, because there's a lot of things that are making you feel, oh, this is unknown. Unknown equals unsafe. Now,
Yeah.
how do I navigate this? It's a lot of extra stress on the nervous system. I'm outside of my window of tolerance. Like, how do I re regulate and bring myself back by taking extra time and care for myself?
Yeah. Well, this was such a lovely conversation. If people
Yeah.
want to come find you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah. So they can find me on Instagram at sunflowers in sun showers,
Love it.
or they can, yeah, and there's a big story behind that, which for another day. But or they can find me on my website at www.sunflowersinsunshowers.com.
Awesome. And guys, this is always in the show notes. You can look her up in there. But it was so nice speaking with you. I always love, I, here's the thing. Denise and I also talk about this a lot. This podcast has been healing for us, and we didn't
Mm,
intend for it to be that, but every guest brings us something where it's like, oh, that hits home. I needed to hear that. And so we just always appreciate you guys coming on and hoping that it hits others in the same way. Yeah, so guys, we will see you on the next episode. You know the drill. We love feedback. Come hit us up on our Instagram page. Let us know what you want to hear about. Leave us a review, share it with a friend, do all the things, and have a lovely day.